Hello, uglies! It is a brand new Dragula season! Let's go, I'm so excited. This is season 5 of the Boulay Brothers Dragula, and it has not let down for all of the waiting we've been doing. I was such a huge fan of Dragula Titans. I'm so ready for another season. This one had a great intro. If you haven't already seen it, the episode was called Terror in the Woods, so let's talk about it. So first off, there was a little bit of a change in the way that the monsters entered into the cauldron, or the laboratory as they're calling it this season. They were dropped off in the woods, and they had to make their way through this spooky haunted forest, where they were cow-prodded until they made it to a base camp where they received some drinks and were officially part of the competition. Now, at the beginning, the Boulets did say that if they didn't make it through, that they would be eliminated. And I was really hoping that maybe there would be one or two people that just gave up along the way and ended up getting booted out. I was also really hoping that maybe we would have seen someone familiar, maybe a past contestant. I will say I was slightly disappointed that there wasn't a returning monster. I would have loved to have seen someone like Louisiana or Disasterina, one of those kind of early out contestants who was just really naturally very funny, because the whole vibe this season feels very comedic. I already have a couple favorites, one of those being Jarvis. I am very obsessed with this performer. I love that they are so well-rounded all around, and they really have such a unique idea of who they are as a performer and a monster. I love the way that they affect their voice when they talk in drag. Just a really incredible being and presence, and I loved what they did this week, both for their intro look as well as for the main stage look, which we will get into in a little bit. We're going to talk about every one of those. I'm also really feeling Nyohuru so hard. Their aesthetic is chef's kiss stunning. From the promo, I was like, this is going to be someone to watch. Neo is going to be a really strong competitor, and I was not disappointed, and the internet was not disappointed. I keep seeing nothing but positive things, and I'm pinning them as like a top 4 right now. I have loved Anaphylactic since before I even started drag many years ago. Anna and Cheddar were two people that I followed from the beginning. Super inspired a lot of what my drag aspired to be. As soon as Cheddar got on Drag Race UK, I was thinking, okay, Anna's next. And to be honest, I think I prefer that they are on Boulay Brothers Dragula, because I think it is more in line with what they do just generally, and I think it's kind of a nice format. Plus, Anna will actually make some money, whereas unfortunately Cheddar didn't win like anything, even though they definitely deserve to. So I'm a huge fan of Anna. I was actually quite disappointed at how few people knew who Anna was. Anna's kind of like a drag legend, at least in my scope of the universe. I also really turned up to JK. I know that a lot of the internet right now is not really featuring them, but I really loved their promo look. I thought they have a really fun approach to drag. What I think was sort of the silver bullet in killing them was them saying that their look for the main stage was phoned in. And if you phoned in your first look and you just ordered stuff off Amazon because you're like, I have better stuff, don't say that. Keep it to yourself, for Christ's sake. Keep the intrusive thoughts here. They could have just been like, I was trying to think of something conceptual that people wouldn't do, and I turned to ordering things online because I was trying to get it quickly, and I should have just made it myself. I was a little short-sighted in my approach, and I should have committed fully because I know I can do better than this. That's what they should have said, not I phoned it in. I knew that I had better things, so I chose not to do something good. That was disappointing, and I think that's why they eventually went home. I will say I'm not super featuring Satana at all. I think that they're probably one of my least favorites in the bunch. I also don't really like people that sort of just stir the pot just to be dramatic. I guess on some level I turn up to drama, in the same way that like Jade Jolie really stirred up drama, but I feel like Jade was stirring up drama for television, not just to act a certain way that girls act to each other in the nightclub. There's a certain attitude that drag performers have towards people they don't like, and they'll sort of shun them out because they think they're prettier or fiercer or have better hair or better makeup than the others. And so they'll be a little shady and try to read and get cute, but it's just being mean and hostile, and I don't like that. And so I didn't really like Satana's attitude at all. I kind of wish that they had gone home instead, especially because their look was bad. And overall, I didn't totally agree with the judging. I thought the marshmallow storyline was so weird. I understood why JK was up there. I didn't understand why Blackberry was in the top. I thought that was like a very safe, low look. In my opinion, Fantasia should have been in the top. I think that Anna was completely robbed. If I could have changed the lineup, I would have made it Neo, Fantasia, and Anna as the top three. I thought Orgotic's look was so strong, but I didn't think there were enough exciting elements about it, but it wasn't quite what I was wanting. So I thoroughly disagreed with the tops, but I think it was probably to give Neo Hoodoo the win. But I mean, they deserved it. They rightfully deserved it. But I just wish that maybe Anna could have gotten some critiques. And I wish that Fantasia could have been worshipped for being as good and strong as she was. And I feel like this critique of Anna being quiet is going to end up biting her in the butt later. And I don't think that the Boulets are going to necessarily give that critique in enough time for Anna to fix that. And as far as the bottoms were concerned, really the only one that I thought was like a little bit out of place was Onyx. In my opinion, that should have been Blackberry. And they should have just like really committed to the marshmallow storyline. If they were going to be doing a drag race story moment, they should have just put the two marshmallow princesses in the bottom, compared them to each other, and made them battle it out to stay. But also, Satana missed the mark real hard. So I mean, maybe all three of them should have bungee jumped. But either way, let's look at the floor show. I'm going to be evaluating each of these as they come down. This was such a great start to the competition. So I loved this. Jarvis looked so good. I really enjoyed this puritanical look. I got it right away because when you think about Puritans, you think about them living in the forest. You think about these log cabins. There's a lot of puritanical beliefs that are cropping back up. This is a great interpretation on the challenge. This was chef's kiss. I loved this voodoo queen. It matched the prompt so strongly. Even if like a bog is not necessarily a forest, it's still a really strong concept, and this is a beautiful look. You could tell there was a lot of thought and execution in it. As far as what Orgotic did, I like this sort of Freddy Krueger meets like amphibian bug thing. The shining detail was really nice. These boots and that suit, there's not a rhinestone or blood or dirt or anything on it, and I wish that there was something to make it dirtier. This, I didn't even realize that it was them at first. I thought it was a different contestant. I like all the little details, especially the leaves like coming out of the back. It looks like a Victorian zombie that has come out of the ground. This was a great prompt. I didn't quite understand why it was in the bottom. I didn't like the gag though. Neo killed it with this fox spirit. It's so beautiful, elegant, and spooky at the same time. And then the head on the parasol. All of these details on the back. It had so much cultural infused into it, and that was something that they mentioned that they love to do, is infuse their culture. Now, this I didn't love. This barbecue American Dad thing. I didn't like it. To me, it felt lazy. Just as a full, complete thought. And I don't know if it necessarily came across like Terror in the Woods. And I've said my piece about this before we even got to this segment. I don't care for this look. I don't think it's stunning. I like the idea of it. It just feels sort of like, okay, I put a sleeping bag around my body and called it a day. Everything kind of feels sloppy about it, and I don't know, I didn't live. This wasn't even the prompt. So I have fully nothing to say about it. If the goal was to be a bat fairy, then sure, Satana was a bat fairy. It isn't terrifying at all, and nothing really about it feels horror, filth, or glamour to me. Cynthia actually blew me away. I was thinking that Cynthia was going to sort of give us the hair every time, the Cynthia doll hair every time. But this fungus was really fun, and I think that is something that a lot of people can identify with. Being terrified of something in the woods, or these fungi that grow out there, these plants. This look from JK was fine. I liked this detail here. It at least gave me some horror. Overall, as a concept, was it a strong idea? Yeah, like this Girl Scout who got consumed by the s'mores, but it was not great. Anna was robbed, okay? Anna was robbed. I will go to my grave looking like that, saying that Anaphylactic was robbed of a challenge top. Not necessarily a win, but Anna should have gotten critiques for this look in particular because this was so good. This was incredible. But I think just overall, the ones that hit the mark, I think they got it. The ones who missed the mark really missed. And I was going to say earlier before it swapped, this fungal growth, this person, this like tumor thing that's growing, it gave me a little bit of, I believe, amethyst. No, not amethyst. Princess Poppy did it during the talent show, season 15. And I sort of felt that it was giving a little bit of that. It sort of felt like a Drag Race copycat. That was the floor show. Overall, again, I think the people that missed the mark missed it bad. The ones that hit it, they hit it. I feel like Anna was robbed of a top 3. I feel like Fantasia was robbed of a top 3. I don't think Blackberry had any business being in the top 3, but I understand why everything shook out at the bottom. Now, as for JK going home, a lot of people on Twitter are pointing out that JK appears in the trailer in another episode, having a separate conversation, and shows up on the main stage in the trailer. So does that mean that they're going to pull in a Bora and next week say, we changed our mind, we're bringing JK back from the dead because we want to give everyone a fair shot? Or are they going to do a format change and maybe they're going to front load the exterminations? Someone fails next week and goes home and they bring JK back? That's potentially something that could happen, but I didn't really pay attention to the trailer to see who else was in the room during the conversation where JK says, don't ever throw a drink on me. So I'm like wondering if they're just going to pull in a Bora and bring them straight back. We will certainly see next week what ends up happening. But what were your thoughts on this episode of Dragula? Are you excited for this season and who are you rooting for? I am very Team Anna. I'm Team Neo. I'm very Team Fantasia. And I'm very go home next week, Satana. I said it. But who are you rooting for? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye.